So, first up, we'll start with our youngest athletes in the Junior Cycling Academy. So the purpose of this academy is to provide developmental opportunity for young aspiring cyclists. And indeed, a vision of ours is to have a young cyclist from Laverton come through our program into the elite ranks. The academy is not only about achieving results though, it's also about learning resilience and offering opportunity for young persons to enter challenging environments where resilience, determination and effort are rewarded and drawn upon. Indeed, this is a metaphor for life, and to this end we are working alongside the future today. Several entities have been particularly critical for this. Jim and Lisa Bond this year generously sponsored and offered their house in France to JCA athletes who ventured to Europe for a training camp and racing opportunity that was unparalleled. This was initiated by Jim and Lisa and the Bond family entire. Again, this is about so much more than just racing. It was about learning to be independent and to look after oneself in challenging and demanding environments that racing presents. So the Junior Cycling Academy has been generously financially supported. Some of these partners have been with us for over 8 years in the Bond Junior Cycling program, Dave Cashmill and Cash Management, the Hall Family Trust, and a raft of private partners. We really wouldn't be here without their support for this program. I'd like to just pause here for a minute if I can, and I'd like to pause and welcome my father and my grandfather. His formal title, I guess, is Warrant Officer Clifton Bradley Hall. Clifton is from Sydney, New South Wales, and is 98 years of age. And he's flown over here to spend time with us and to get a feel of the program that he's partnered with for so long. Clifton Bradley Hall, I'm his namesake. I'm named after him. He's someone who has supported me and helped shape me throughout my earlier years, and is a large part of the reason I find myself in the service of others' development today. Clifton, or CB, as we call him, is one of 5 surviving officers of the Royal Australian Air Force Bomber Command, which flew missions from Europe across the European continent in World War II. The reason for mentioning this is owing to the incredible impact that CB has had on myself as a young man, in shaping so much of what I have done, in supporting me through troubled times, and leading by example as an impressionable young boy. I'm privileged now to be able to work with a multitude of young people from remarkably diverse backgrounds, some more or less fortunate than others, and it is with my granddad's compassion and empathy taught to me at an early age that I embrace these challenges presently across the various CDF programs of a raft of others. Indeed, through the CDF, I'm fortunate to be able to work with young people towards development ends, thankfully through sport and not through war. Granddad was 11 years old and was 17 years old in 11 months, and a similar age to the many individuals we work with in our programs, when he left for Europe to be part of the Australian Air Force contingent in World War II. Grandad recounts sorties over Europe in Lancaster bombers, where he was solely responsible as a navigation officer for the placement of ordnance on targets, often concealed by smoke, flak, burning aircraft fuel and debris. Often the target sites were not visible as fellow aircraft perished around them. Grandad, as a young man, a boy even, had to plot airspeed, wind direction, magnitude, the bearing, current total weight, and more to ensure that ordnance were precisely placed over critical targets on the ground, often at night with visibility very poor. Whether or not these munitions found their target is debatable, but it is a burden he has carried through his lifetime and bestowed upon him as a boy and young man, which then facilitated his ability for precision in his working life as a carpenter and engineer. Of course, this came at a cost to himself and many others. 40 to 50% of the aircraft that would depart England would not return on each run over the continent. So many of Grandad's friends, mates and acquaintances would form short-lived but significant relationships, only as they witnessed this terrible suffering. CB has recounted stories of retrieving individuals from concentration camps and POWs who were rake-thin and malnourished, barely able to climb the 5 steps into the Lancaster to be flown to England for care and treatment. He recalls this aspect well, and this helped him form a sense of compassion for others. This is more than what any young person should bear, but it was his rite of passage, and thankfully one we are not required to teach today. Even today, as in this very day, I was very fortunate enough to attend the RAAF Aircraft Museum with Grandad, and I was able to climb to the last remaining Lancaster bomber, which Grandad spent much of his young adulthood in. The fuselage of this type of flying fortress, if you will, was long and narrow. Still, Grandad, at 98 years of age today, climbed through the various sections, which I struggled to get through, and recounted stories of the many sorties flown over Europe, and his role in navigating the plane through them. Grandad, for the first time, told me he was squadron commander and responsible for the navigation of not only his plane, but that of his entire squadron. He recounts this story at the navigator desk behind the pilot's seat, where there are 6 instruments that help indicate where the bomber is in space and time. Grandad alone was responsible for its location and operational accuracy, and that of the entire group. His stories were not about instruments though, but about the people he met along the way, about the service to others. When asked by a bystander today, what was it like? You must have been really close to your team members. Grandad replied, there was a high turnover of officers, but everyone was important. The flight crew and the ground crew especially, they would patch us up, they would keep us going and make vital repairs to allow for safe passage. To this end, Grandad was alluding to the importance of others in this pursuit, which I found iconic to our cycling journey. Back sitting in the plane with CB, I saw a map of occupied Europe on the navigator's desk and the flight paths stencilled over them, from England to the south of France and east into Germany. Grandad indicated he was around 18 years and 10 months when he was doing these runs. The map we stared down on had the cities of Ghent, Brugge and Brussels highlighted, all areas myself and our developing athletes this year and last had raced around. From this exchange, I understand the importance of others and uplifting our own journey, and recount how fortunate I have been that I'm not born 100 years ago, where we might be training these young individuals for reasons not associated with sport. Still, Grandad's lessons have been passed on to me, and in turn to some of the people I'm proud to work with alongside here today. In surmising, accuracy, precision and compassion do well to prescribe the man with us here today. I'm very thankful for your leadership, Grandad, and direction over the years, and I'm honoured to have you here as a guest and the chair of the Hall Family Trust, which directly sponsors the great many programs the CDF manages. So, thank you, Grandad.